Okay, we are back, up and running. It is Sunday, February 1st, 2026, and we're here. It's a nice day, nice sunny day. It's supposed to be, I think it said high of 53 today, so it's pretty nice. It's been relatively cool, so we're enjoying some nice time outside, except right now where I'm inside doing a podcast. Thus, welcome to the podcast, the Colonel and the Kid podcast. I'm your host, Greg Heitmann, the Kid, and the Colonel Edwin P. Hagen Jr., my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, my mom's dad. And this is a podcast dedicated to his memory and based on the memoir that I wrote. It's called The Colonel and the Kid, a memoir. And it's about my relationship with my grandfather, Grandpa, as I called him. A lot of people call him the Colonel. But I just wanted to document, his influence on me and the positive influence it had and all the memories and funny stories, I guess. Maybe funny to me, maybe not so funny to other people, but I get a kick out of them. And I think as I mentioned, maybe, I don't know if I mentioned other podcasts or other places, or maybe it's written down that I do believe my grandfather's worth remembering. And he's a good example for people to follow. A leader of men. But I have the written record, and this podcast is going to preserve a video record and an audio record. So hopefully you get a chance to see the pictures. I'll add those pictures that are in the memoir to the YouTube video, and I'll try to describe them as I go through and I read the chapter. But if nothing else, you'll have an audio version you can listen to and paint your own mental pictures of what you imagine Grandpa was, looked like, did, and hopefully enjoy it. In today's chapter, we're branching off into some, I guess, I don't know. Am I going to call it obscure? I don't want to say obscure because it kind of seems like it cheapens it, but maybe, obscure is the good word. I was going to say lesser known. Just let's call them oddities of the memories I've had and how those memories even came to exist. But today's chapter is called the St. Christopher Medal. And it's medal as in MEDAL, like a medallion. And it's the St. Christopher Medallion. It's chapter 23. And this is, what is this? The third episode in volume 2, season 2 of the podcast. So we're trucking right along. And let's just jump into the chapter like we've been doing and get that read into the record. And then people don't want to hear anything else on the podcast, they can just jump off the podcast from there, and we can talk about some other recurring stuff. But let's read this thing into the record and get going and enjoy it. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. So chapter 23, the St. Christopher Medallion. And as always, we start the chapter with a quote, and quote, "Back pain is youth leaving the body," end quote. And this quote is attributed to Unknown. I think I was just looking for some quotes associated with back pain, and I came across that one. I don't know. It's a good quote. I'm a little surprised that it's not attributed to anybody, but it is a good and humorous quote that I felt very appropriate for this chapter. And you'll see why as the chapter goes by. But let's start in. Let's read the chapter. I originally had a different title in mind for this chapter. I decided to go in another direction because I felt that such an odd name would be a distraction. That's sort of a foolish rationalization for modifying any of the formatting I've laid out in this memoir. This whole exercise is a distraction. My writing and your reading of this material amounts to little more than a momentary reprieve from the daily grind. Only time will tell when considering the effectiveness of my effort. So for me to worry about chapter titles and then change them is the epitome of pointlessness. Did anyone else ever get a medal from his or her grandparent? It's not a question that comes right to your mind, but I got one. The St. Christopher medallion I carry in my pocket today isn't the one Grandpa gave me. It's smaller and it rides shotgun in my front left pocket every day with an elk ivory from the 2018 bull elk I harvested. What is an elk ivory? That's a question some of you are probably asking. Elk have evolved over a few thousand years, and they used to have a pair of ivory tusks curling out of their mouths. And if you're watching the video podcast, you can see I'm kind of indicating with my hands here that there's tusks that come out of the mouth. The only vestige left of those tusks is a pair of small ivories on the roof of an elk's mouth. One of the last pieces of ivory a person can legally own and collect in the modern world. So here we have the first photo of the chapter. This is a pretty short chapter and not even a lot of photos, so this should go by very quickly, actually. So this is a good photo. Let me read the caption, then I'll describe the photo. Photo of a recently purchased replica St. Christopher medallion and chain, similar to what I remember Grandpa handing out to the grandchildren in the 1970s. So this photo, it shows a picture. It's really crisp photo. I'm pretty sure I took it with my iPhone. But this medallion, I think I just searched on Amazon.com, found one that reminded me from my memory of what Grandpa had given grandkids. And it's just a small silver chain. I don't know if it's not real silver. It's just some metallic chain and a small medallion, maybe a little bigger than a quarter, maybe around the size of 50-cent piece, but it's got an image of St. Christopher who's holding like a staff, like a large stick holding a staff, and he's leaning on it, and he's got a child on his shoulder, and he's kind of walking. It says, "Behold, St. Christopher, and go your way in safety." So it's just a silverish metal with a silver metal chain, and it's still in its little jewelry type container, little flip up box, about the size of about the half the size of a smaller or medium sized iPhone container, and like a little jewelry, like maybe a ring box or something you'd get. And I never did find the original St. Christopher medal, so I bought one to replace it for the memoir specifically. But I did. Well, let me continue on here, and I think we got another photo, the second photo, before we get back to the chapter. In this second photo, I'll read the caption here and then try to describe a little bit. Photo of St. Christopher medal and elk ivory with a $quarter for a size reference. Elk ivories are trophies. That's all that's left of the ancient ivory tusk that elk brandished a few thousand years ago. So this little photo on here, it's just I have a little, like a brand new a $quarter with George Washington image on there, and then I'm trying to show the size of what the elk ivory and what this little medallion looks like, and this is the medallion that Angela gave me, and I carry that around in my pocket for luck. It's the replacement St. Christopher medal. It's got that same image of a man. This is a man holding the staff, wading through water, and then he's got a child on his shoulder. And that's because St. Christopher was the patron saint of travelers, I guess, and helped protect them. And then there's another little piece of material people might not recognize if they didn't read the caption or understand the story or read the rest of the chapter here, but it's a piece of elk ivory. Well, it is elk ivory, and it's like a tooth, but it's made of ivory that comes out of an elk's mouth when you harvest an elk. That's one of the trophies you can get out of it. It's just it's the little small piece of ivory that's evolved over the years and disappeared into the roof of the mouth of an elk. They used to use them for fighting, I guess, before their antlers grew big, and maybe rooting around like wild pigs. I think have some tusks sometimes, and they dig through the soil and uproot, root around, if you will, to root up the roots to be able to eat them. But this is an elk ivory, and it's just that creamish color, white, bonish type material. And you can see where some of it's worn away and discolored. Typically, they get like brown rings on them as they age, and the ivory decays as the bacteria eats away on them, and they leave stains on their teeth, little like almost like rings in a tree. It's kind of hard to describe, but this, as you can see from the size reference here, that's a little bigger than quarter. It's a little thicker, but it's a very neat trophy I carry around in my pocket along with the St. Christopher medal, just for good luck. But back to the chapter. I don't know what happened to the St. Christopher medal Grandpa gave me. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, he gave one to each grandchild. I'm not sure what inspired Grandpa to hand out the medals. St. Christopher is the patron saint of travelers, and the grandkids had multiple hour car trips to come visit. Maybe that was the idea behind his gift. Grandpa wasn't religious as far as I ever knew. He was a Lutheran. I'm pretty sure he was in the church for my confirmation and grew up United Methodist Church. He was not a Catholic, which I would think might be more akin to providing religious iconography to family members, and thus a St. Christopher medal. And here I have a picture of Grandpa. I don't think I've shown a picture of Grandpa for a while, but Grandpa's included in this photo, and I'll read the caption and try to describe. I wanted to have a photo of Grandpa shown in church with me at my confirmation. Alas, the closest church picture I could find was Grandpa in a photo of Grady's and Bobby's wedding in August of 1992. That's 30 years ago as I write this, in the Groton United Methodist Church, from left to right. My dad, my mom, Bobby, Grady, Grandma, and Grandpa. And it's a nice picture of the parents and grandparents of Grady and Bobby's, Grady's wife. They just got married in this photo. And my dad's wearing a tuxedo, the black tie, black bow tie. My mom's wearing a really nice, pretty blue colored dress there. And Bobby's in white with a veil, and it looks really nice. The bouquet, nice wedding dress. And Grady's got a nice tux on with a white tie. I guess as the groom, he didn't get to wear the black tie and was stuck with a white tie. So it doesn't look as good to me than having that black tie just stand out against that white shirt. And my grandma's got like a white skirt and black shirt and like a little coat, like a dress coat. And there's my grandpa at the right side of the photo, and he's got like a tannish cream colored jacket and a white shirt, black tie, black pants, and he's almost smiling. Grady's kind of smiling. Bobby's smiling. Grandma's smiling. My mom is smiling. My dad is not smiling. He's like more like, I don't know, surprised the photos being taken. It's like taking a picture. So he's kind of expressionless, but it's kind of I think I mentioned this before, but like Grady and Grandpa, any of the hunting photos where they've harvested something and they're holding it up, a deer, ducks, pheasants, whatever, they're never smiling. It seems like this is so rare for them to smile. And here in this photo at the wedding, they're actually kind of smiling, but fun photo. So back to the chapter. I don't remember Grandpa as a superstitious man, unlike myself. Like I mentioned, I carry around an elk ivory in a small, about the size of a dime, St. Christopher medal. The medal I carry every day was given to me by Angela, my fiance. She's a devout Catholic. So when I referenced the St. Christopher medallion in one of my first books that I wrote, Teener Baseball, she decided she would go to the local religious store, which happens to be a few blocks from my house here in the neighborhood, and get a replacement medallion. The original St. Christopher medallion was a little bigger than a quarter and on a chain. I don't have possession of it anymore. I'm still holding out hope that it is in my parents' house somewhere, and that with a thorough, focused search, I can recover the medal and add it to my collection of nostalgic items along with the horse comb and baseball in my, quote, treasure chest. Quote, back equals stick, end quote, was the first draft title of this chapter. I'll try to explain. Since I turned 50 years old, I've really noticed my body. Up until a couple years ago, I was barely aware of my body. Yeah, I had a few aches and pains here and there, but I felt pretty good. Angela might argue otherwise. If you were to ask her, she would probably say, one thing I am known for is complaining about this hurting me or that bothering me. The past few months, while teleworking during the pandemic, the COVID crisis we had here a few years ago, I've had 2 debilitating bouts with my back. Both occurred while either standing up from a chair or turning while sitting in my chair. The pain and subsequent time healing have drawn a funny memory from the recesses of my mind. In a very vivid memory, Grandpa mocked me when I was a 10-year-old boy complaining about my back. I remember him looking at me as I felt my back and stretched, all while whining to him that my back hurt from sleeping wrong. Your back? Grandpa questioned. You don't have a back. You have a stick. I don't want to hear about your back. I'm not sure if truer words have ever been spoken. Grandpa spent countless years in the military sleeping in conditions that would be considered abusive to a dog in modern times. I feel embarrassed now remembering how I complained about my back hurting, knowing now what he lived through and what he must have felt like at his age. It's just another weird memory that I can recall for some reason. Maybe the St. Christopher medal and my sore back were related. It could be that the chain and medal around my neck put my spine out of alignment. If only we could verify such things. And as usual, we end the chapter with a quote. Quote, leave me with my memories, with my true, beautiful memories, end quote. And that's from famous American writer Ernest Hemingway from short story Winner Take Nothing. So that's it. That's the chapter for today. The St. Christopher Medallion. And I think I have that written wrong in my notes that I think I just call it the St. Christopher medal, but I should clarify that with medallion because if you say medal, like I said, it can be confused between METAL and MEDAL. This is a MEDAL medallion. But I think I wanted to comment on something else here. I'm scrolling through the story, trying to remember what it was that I wanted to maybe discuss a little bit further. Nope, that's it. Let's call it good. That's the chapter for today. And I'll put the photos. There's 1, 2, 3 photos from this chapter, and I'll get those put into the YouTube video if you want to see what I'm trying to describe in the podcast. But good short chapter today. And probably wrap it up kind of early because got a lot of stuff going on today. I'm dog sitting this week. This is a big week for me. The rest of the family is going to Disney World in Florida, Orlando, and they're going to go to Universal Studios and all that stuff. And I'm staying here because they planned this before I got officially retired and didn't know if I could have time to do that with some other stuff going on. But they're going, and I'm going to stay here and take care of Esteban's dog. So going to have my hands full. You get a lot more extra walking in during the week to try to wear that dog out and bring down the energy level. I think that dog's like 2 years old, maybe now, 2.5. So she still has a lot of energy. She's a half husky, half pit bull. And Esteban got that dog free because it was an accident. I think they were like husky breeders. And So this, I guess, a pit bull, male pit bull got in with a female husky and had had a litter of puppies that they didn't really want, couldn't sell, so they gave them away. And this dog's it's a really cool looking dog. And maybe I can find a picture of that and put it in the podcast too. Picture of a little dog. But she's not as big and heavy as a pit bull, and not as big as like a regular sized husky either. She's kind of smaller, nice medium sized dog, good sized dog to have. So, but lots of energy, just unbelievable amounts of energy. I mean, that's I think typical with a lot of younger dogs, but it seemed like the huskies. So I've read and understand that they have so much energy. And just talking to some people that have stopped me and said that's a cool looking dog when I'm out taking her for a walk. And they warned me that they have a lot of energy, these huskies. So be doing that all week. And in the meantime, I'm preparing to do a podcast or more podcasts this week, maybe 3 or 4, since I'll be here by myself, just with the dog. And in between walks of the dog, I can get up before the camera and finish reading some of these chapters in to the record and getting them out there for people to enjoy. I say that seriously. Hopefully you enjoy this and can appreciate some of the history of my family. But that's the plan for the week. See how it goes. See how exhausted I am by the end of the week of trying to manage that dog. I know that was one of the last texts I got from Esteban as they're heading out on their trip. He texted me, "Good luck!" ! That seems like a very ominous warning of the week to come. But anyway, should be fun. So let's hold this up. It's time. It's time to continue the advertising portion of the show. Well, it's a continuous advertising because if you're watching the video, I should describe this for those not watching. You can see I'm wearing my podcast hat. This is the way it's gone. This is my new hat I got from O'Farrell Hats, O'Farrell Hat Company. You can see that I'm pointing to it in the video podcast here behind me. I have the top of their hat box leaning up in the background, and so I just thought maybe that'd be my new thing I'd wear for my podcast is my new hat. It's a really fancy hat. I really like it. Enjoy it. It's kind of like a cowboy hat, except it's supposed to be more of a hunting hat, I guess. That's I would categorize it as a hunting hat. It's kind of a darker green to fit into the green forest, and I'm wearing a camouflage shirt. Kind of see that barely a little bit on the video podcast if you're watching. So I kind of I guess I'm unofficially sponsored by O'Farrell Hat Company. O apostrophe capital FARRELL. So I say I'm unofficially sponsored by them because I won this hat out of Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet, and they're kind of expensive and fancy. So I told them I would do some advertising for it by talking about it and wearing it because it was a great gift to win. Great gift by the company. They build them right here in Santa Fe, and he donates a hat. I guess I don't know if he does it every year. I think they do. Donates a hat, and you can buy a ticket, $10 raffle ticket for a raffle ticket to put in for the hat drawing, and I won it one year, and it's cool. I feel pretty cool wearing this hat. But you know what it means now. We have other sponsors, and yes, I'm sponsoring myself. You can see that I have this matching. I'm holding it over the poster. If you're watching the video, instead of the poster in the background, you can see the actual book I'm holding up. This is the Buffalo Lake book, and we're getting pretty close to getting a new poster up. Third book is called Big Coulee, and we'll get that poster located and up here in the next maybe few days. Might leave this one up through the next couple podcasts, maybe episode 26. Maybe I'll switch it just to see if you guys are paying attention on the video podcast. Anyway, this is Charlie the Bow Mystery, the Buffalo Lake episode, Buffalo Lake book by me, Gregory L. Heitmann. So there, did that, got that taken care of. So finally, I don't think I really have much else to share. I'm still, I'm officially retired now, and retirement is going great, except that I'm transitioning into retirement pay, and I haven't been paid for a while, so my bank account's getting low. It makes me nervous. I've been so used to my whole life getting that paycheck just like clockwork all the time, and you just take it for granted. I mean, you're entitled to your paycheck when you're working, right? Entitlement. But now I'm looking for my retirement pension, my benefits, if you will, for retiring, and they haven't kicked in quite yet because it takes a little time to go through administrative stuff. So other than that, retirement is awesome. Once everything's getting settled in, then I'll feel great about retirement. But let me just say that overall retirement is great. So I wanted to note that for the record in the podcast. And then I wanted to talk about a recurring category that today is going to be a little weird. I don't know if it's weird, but I'll mention it because I can point to the video. If you're watching the video podcast, you can see I'm pointing to a green-winged teal that's mounted up on the wall there, and there's it's a print of the green-winged teal duck stamp from probably the mid 70s, late 70s. I have a little art print of the duck stamp and the stamp itself framed on the wall there. Underneath the green-winged teal actual taxidermy, it's actual green-winged teal. I didn't shoot that green-winged teal. Angela, I bought that. She gave that to me as a gift for Christmas or my birthday. I can't remember. She bought it like at a pawn shop or something. And it's pretty cool. Drake green-winged teal. Got a really nice, pretty iridescent green wing. Speculums on the wings there showing, and then the green wing, just that little eye patch that they have around their eye, and then their chestnut colored head. It's really cool. Cool mounted duck. So I bring that up because I did something. I haven't really done a whole lot of bigger things, but this is one of the bigger things I've done since being retired. Is I set up a guided duck hunt down at Elephant Butte Lake, Elephant Butte Reservoir, down by Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And I set that up and went down there last Thursday and hunted ducks with a guide. And Angela came along, and I was going to take Angela along if it was going to be in the morning hunt, but set it up to go in the afternoon go out at 1 p.m. and spend 4 hours hunting and then come back. And we drove down in the morning to Elephant Butte, hunted, and then drove back. So it was just a long day trip. But so we got down there, set it up, and went down there, and so the guide, he's got a boat. You go out in a boat, launch. We launched just from the shore. It wasn't even a little boat ramp. It was just one little dirt/sandy road going through this little community along the lake, get down to the open shore. And there's a couple other boats down there, hunters that had gone out in the morning. I guess they're coming back. And so we got in the boat and went across, I don't know, about a mile from where we launched the boat, and set up in a little cove. And while we're driving the boat out there, there's all kinds of ducks just on the lake. And driving by in the boat kind of just scared them all up, and they're all flying around. It was a beautiful day. It was probably almost 60 degrees, just sunny and gorgeous hunting conditions not hunting conditions that you would think of for duck hunting. just barely a little breeze, and it was so, I mean, so not not stressful weather-wise, which I always think of when you're duck hunting or waterfowl hunting. It's usually a battle with the elements, wind and cold or snow. Um, Hey, sometimes in my experience, there's been some bluebird days, as they've been called, which is beautiful days, but few and far between up in South Dakota. And down here in the in the high desert, uh, sort of southern New Mexico, in the end of January, it was I think it was, what was it, the third to the last day of the hunting season. So today's, well, no, the duck season ended yesterday, January 31st, down here. Well, in the south part of the south zone of New Mexico. Yesterday was the last date. So I didn't do any hunting, didn't do any waterfowl hunting this year at all until, no, last Thursday here. And it was fun. We got, um, I think the guy had 30 decoys and a couple spinner, these mallard type decoys, and you put them on a little stake and they have a little battery and the wings spin and flutter and look like ducks on final approach, and they're just flapping their wings and settling into the water. So you had two of those spinners and 30 floating duck decoys in this little cove just along the reservoir there. And got those set out and just sitting on the shore, and these rocks, great big rocks, as our that was our blind, our camouflage in the shaded part of the rocks there. And got sat down there, and probably within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, comes two widgeons coming into the decoys, just straight in. They were just bombing in, no, not even a second look. This came in, and so I wait. I waited, and then the guy was like, "Take him!" I was just about ready to shoot. He couldn't see me. He was kind of behind the rock, and I guess he was um, maybe mystified why I wasn't shooting, but I just let him get on all really pretty close, probably only about 25 yards. I shot both those. Got a nice double to start the guided hunt off. And you can get 6 ducks. There's certain combinations, but you can get 6 total ducks. And started off with a nice clean double in my New Mexico duck hunting. So that was fun. Um, got those right away. And then what was it? Probably no, not too much longer. Another, probably less than 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Here comes a whole flock of green winged teal, just like this one behind me, just like that. Great big flock. Maybe, well, not a great big flock, but 20 or 30 just come zipping in. They're just like cruising, just unbelievable how fast, and they're they're coming straight into the decoys, not really hesitating, just buzzing along the water. And I shoot and drop one, shoot and hit another one, and then one just like really trying to get altitude. It comes right over me, but it's only probably 10 yards away, and I missed it. And I thought, man, it's just about a triple. And then I get out there to look, and there's only one floating on the water, and it's like, what? I thought I had a triple. Now I only got one. I don't know if I just thought I got one, a second one. I mean, the first shot I dropped the one. Second shot, I thought another one was hit and was going to drop. I never did see if it was hit. Maybe I just imagined it, and then I cleanly missed the last one. So I went from having a triple to only having one and being mystified. But those teal, they're they're pretty tough, pretty challenging. So I had probably in the first 40 minutes, then after having the decoys set up and everything, I had half my limit done. It was a drake and a hand widgeon, and then a nice drake green winged teal. And that one didn't float in. The wind had switched a little. It was barely blowing, but the widgeons had floated into shore, and the guy had grabbed them. And then the teal, the green winged teal, fell, and he was blown away. So the guy went and got his boat to go pick it up. It was dead. It was just floating in the water. So he went and picked it up, and then he drove around a little bit past this island out there just to check it out and see what was seeing. And at the same time, he was going over there by the island because I think, well, later I asked him about that island. See, well, do you ever set up along that island and see if they can shoot other ducks that are just passing by out there? He said, no, like I like to come back in here and this is like, this is where they really like to come in and they decoy. And he's right. They were decoying in without even, um, barely a second look. And it was funny because, like I said, this is like third to the last day of the season. So they've been probably shot at a lot. And there was like all kinds of, not all kinds, but a few empty shotgun shell casings around the shore there. Picked them up before I left. But so other people had been going in there, and the ducks, they didn't seem, well, they didn't seem that wary of hunters. But I was in the shadows and camouflaged up, had my waders on, and had a mask to kind of hide your shiny white face. So I just had a mask and could see my eyes and stuff, and I'm sure that helped. And you just don't move, and you're probably in amongst the shadows of the rocks, big huge boulders that are there, and you're okay. But if you move, which I did one time when another flock came in, flock of teal, and that really scared them. So it's kind of funny. I was trying to blow my little teal call, little whistle, and did get a shot there, but so we ended up. So the guide went off to get that duck, and while he was gone, here comes another flock of teal, and I ended up shooting. What the heck was it? I think I shot again. I loaded on the flock. I got the first one I shot at, got it. Trying to get another one, got another missed, and then missed again. And then the flock came around again, and I put another shell in. Actually, as they're going away, I missed again. So I shot 4 times and got one more green-winged teal. And then that was out floating on the water. And then, what was it? Another one. I think just a single drake green-winged teal came by, and I shot it 3 times and missed it 3 times. So my shooting was getting worse. And then another green-winged teal drake came through soon after that. The guide was still out on the boat, and shot him, got him on the first shot, no problem, dropped him dead. And that was it. We had 5 ducks down. We had the 2 widgeons right away, and then 3 drake green-winged teal, and finally the last duck to fill out the limit was it was another widgeon. She just came in by herself, just coming into the decoys, like not a care in the world. And I shot her, and that was the end of the limit. And we were done by, I think we were done by 3 o'clock, 3:30. I think it was closer to 3 o'clock to 3:30, but say 3:15. Picked up the decoys, and well, the guide came back and picked up the ducks that were in the water. Picked them all up. I picked up the decoys, helped him I picked up all the decoys, and then he put them away. And took across back to the boat launch area and took a few pictures, and that was it. That was my guided hunt. Is a lot more money than I would have expected, but I wanted to just check it out down there and experience it and take Angela along. It was such a nice day and nice experience. It was definitely worth the money. And if you're seeing this locally, you want to go down there, his name is Frank Valorio, and it's Land of Enchantment Fishing and Hunting Guide. I think that's what it is. I think it's Stripers New Mexico. I think that's his website, stripersnewmexico.com. I think that's the website if you're interested. Not sure. Maybe my picture will be on there with the ducks I got, but I'll post a video, or not a video. I'll post a picture of the harvest of the ducks. We had them lined up on the boat. Like I was in the boat, and you can see the buttes in the background, the reservoir. It's a really cool picture in the sun. Well, the sun going down in the west, and we're looking towards the sun, so the sun's really illuminating everything pretty cool at that time of day and stuff, and the water in the background, and it's really, really nice. Very memorable. I just really enjoyed it. So got that done. I didn't wear my new fancy cap. It was probably too fancy to be taken out in the field and hunted under, but I just wore a baseball cap, camouflage baseball cap. Yeah, it worked great. Maybe I'll take I think I have a picture of that with me with my mask on, and of course I made a joke that was unappreciated by the audience, the guide, and Angela while we were there. I said, "Well, I got a face mask and a gun. Maybe we should, go round up some illegal immigrants like ICE." So, nope, very unappreciated joke. I thought it was hilarious, but anyway, I apologize for that joke. For those of you that need to be apologized to, if you're so sensitive, but I thought it was funny. And again, I'm not embarrassed by my joke. All jokes don't land perfectly, and that one may not have landed, especially given the situation up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the land of 10,000 mistakes up there. So anyway, I will wrap it up. I think maybe we can get under 45-minute podcast today, and I can get out and go to the grocery store first, and then I'm gonna go pick up the dog and bring the dog back and go for a walk with the dog and see how that goes. More to report on that coming up in future podcasts. And we have chapter 24. Let me check and see what the next chapter is. I think it is chapter 24 is called The State Bee Tourney. And that is about the state basketball tournament in South Dakota and how my grandpa and family enjoyed basketball, and the state tournament was a big deal back when I was a kid. I think it's still a big deal in a lot of places. A lot of states have a real passion for basketball and high school basketball. That's what this is about. And just a fun time. I have fun memories of that, interesting memories. So chapter 24, the state bee tourney, that'll be the next chapter, and we can get that put in the record this week and see what else is going on. I think I might have some other recurring things I want to talk about that I've skipped over to get to the duck hunt. That was a big thing I wanted to talk about today, but I did have some other stuff that I did something, and I think I forgot to do that with the actual motion of that recurring segment when I try to proclaim. If you're watching the video, I hold up my finger and say, "I did something," and then extend my finger up higher because like I'm holding a one, like I want attention or I'm making a bid at an auction. I did something. It's really one of my top 5 favorite segments I continually do here. And I don't know if I have 5 other recurring segments. I have verbal abuse. I did something. Music update. I don't know what else I got. NFL update. I probably do have more than 5, but no NFL update. Super Bowl. This is a week from today. The Super Bowl will be played. So maybe next Saturday or sometime before next Sunday, maybe I can get Garrett and AJ on. We could do a little Super Bowl discussion about the NFL and discuss the other Minnesota Vikings news. There was some very exciting news on Friday that the Vikings fired their general manager, which I had been calling for quite a while and throughout the podcast. And I have concluded that the Vikings ownership and other executives in the Minnesota Vikings football executive suite, they must listen to the podcast because they did finally take action and fire Quessy Adolfo Mensa was his name. And I don't think he was ever appropriate hire. I think he was a DEI hire, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion hire. I don't think he was qualified as an executive. He was a Wall Street guy that was young Wall Street guy that just got into football through the 49ers, then Cleveland Browns, and then somehow ended up in the Vikings organization as a statistics guy. And I don't know, whatever, however, whoever, whatever, how he got to be general manager, but it was a complete and utter failure. And the Vikings are probably going to be set back probably at least 3 years because of the decisions he made. But we'll talk more about that if Garrett and AJ come on. Pre-Super Bowl podcast next or this coming week, maybe Saturday. That's what we'll shoot for. I'll talk to them and I'll reach out to them via text and see if they want to try that and get our Super Bowl picks in and discuss the state of the Viking situation and handle that. And just go on, try to persevere as a Vikings fan. Anyway, I didn't get done before 45-minute mark on this thing. I blabbed on too long because of the NFL update. So let's wrap it up. We'll wrap it up here and we will sign off and continue the day. Get out there and enjoy this beautiful winter weather. As if you're watching the video podcast, you can see that I'm putting quotes around winter weather because it's going to be mid 50s today down here. It's just beautiful, sunny. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. We'll say goodbye. We just say see you later. And as usual, we always say be assertive, be positive, and be proactive. Take care and take control of your life. You decide, you take action. And with that, we sign off and say knock, and the door will be open to you. Seek and you will find. Ask and you shall be given. That's it for the podcast. See you next time. Have a good rest of your weekend, and talk to you soon.